up, friends? This is Shylah Ray with DoubleBlind, and we are here today with my beautiful guest, Jidenna. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes.
Really appreciate you coming to speak with me.
Thank you for having me.
How are you feeling today?
How am I feeling? I woke up to some hot yoga unannounced. I didn't know that that's what I was being led to. So that was the start of the day. I know most people would be like, I feel so zenned out. But when you're thrown into a hot yoga pit, it's not always zen mode. So I came out of that. I'm alive. I'm well. I got food after that. I got coffee. So I'm feeling charged up now.
Good.
You know what I mean?
Connected. I do. I feel the same way.
Yeah.
What does your daily practice look like?
You know, my mornings are at night, so I'm going to start at 2 a.m. Because if I give you my actual morning practice, I'm not going to look that cool. My morning, like at 2 a.m., I read. I usually, like last night, I was reading about the great ape ancestry that we have from bonobos and chimps and whatnot. So I'll read whatever book or whatever article I'm into at the time. Journal writing at night. I can pray in most of the major religions. I know at least one sort of prayer or one sort of chant. So all that happens between 2 and 4 a.m. Because when I wake up, I'm on a call. That's my morning ritual. I hop up, everything they tell you not to do, look at your phone, because I'm trying to get my sleep. If I can get 8 hours, I'm trying to get 8 hours. And so I hop on the call. So I have to take that 2 to 4 a.m. time for myself. Whereas most people, I think they do that at the 4, 6 a.m., 8 a.m.
It's like opposite.
So it's a little opposite for me. I'm a night owl.
Same. I think it's an artist thing.
Yeah.
Something happens in the mind.
Yeah.
And I think there's a science behind it.
I like being up when no one's awake. And there's a lot more, like post midnight, you're in that time where it feels like you can hear yourself, especially with, because if I wake up at 6 a.m. every day, there's somebody else waking up at 6 a.m. They probably got up at 4 or 5 a.m. to start their day. I can hear the noise and I can feel people awaken, but midnight to 4 is just me. Only. I feel like it's only me, and I think for an artist, we need that solitude to charge up. I'm an introvert, obviously, or ambivert, I say. So I need that time to charge up. That's probably what you need as well, is my assumption.
I don't always know how to explain it. I just do it.
Yeah.
I'm just,
Well,
just
the
on a different
Greeks
rhythm.
believed that genius wasn't something that you are, it was something that you had, and that a genius was a spirit that lived in the wall of creatives at night. And the genius would come out of the wall and work with the artist or the thinker or the innovator at nighttime. So they would never say, like, you are a genius. They say, you have a great genius. There's something working with you at the night.
I like that.
Yeah.
Do you write most of your songs at night?
I used to. I was like, that's all I did. But you become an adult. You can't do everything at night. Like I came up at a time where midnight and on was when rappers had sessions and it was cool. Like, yeah, we going all night. Nowadays, I want to be in a lab at midnight. So I write a lot. Actually, most of my songs are written in Magic Hour. I love Magic Hour. I love Blue Hour. Right now, I think the sun sets at 8. So from 7 to 9, if I can write a song then, that's my ideal space. And then I'll finish it usually at night.
Will you intentionally sit down and carve out time for songwriting?
Yes.
Yeah.
When I work very in accordance with nature. I have seasons. I can't be prolific all year round. Neither can the earth. So when I'm in songwriting season, though, that I'm carving out hours every day.
And you're sitting at the keys? How are you
I
studying
am, it varies. I'm sitting sometimes at the keys working out chords and seeing what my soul is moved by and then kind of blurt out a sound. That sound becomes a lyric. Other times I'm watching, like I mine for phrases. So I watch a lot of TV and film that's really good writing, and I'll take a bar that somebody said Well, I'll take a line that somebody said and turn it into a bar.
One-liners can turn into whole songs.
Yeah, that'll be a whole song, just the way somebody phrases it.
Yeah.
So, honestly, reading, I'm always looking when I'm in songwriter mode. When I'm in production mode, it's just like, because it's just sounds that I hear. It can be just a tone. Like the Tesla, when you're at a light and you stop at a light and hear the bing that the Tesla makes, that sound is so nice. It's so well curated. It feels so good. Like, thank you. Every time I'm like, thank you, Tesla, for telling me that I gotta go straight and I gotta, like, cause I'm usually texting in the middle, at a stoplight.
Of course.
But I love that sound. So when I'm in production mode, which obviously I'm in now, I'll try to understand that frequency. I'll record it. I actually recorded it on the way here to understand what it is. I'll go back, look at what frequency it is, assign it to a note on the keyboard, and try to recreate that in synth form. So that's production. But I'm always mining, and I have been since I was a kid, and I think that's how I knew I was an artist.
Love that. What age was that?
I was like 8 or 9.
Oh, wow.
I've been drawing since I was 7. I was a visual artist first.
Okay.
I used to trade Sonic the Hedgehog drawings and like little anime characters in lunch because I was lactose intolerant, so I couldn't eat the pizza. I couldn't eat none of that. So I had my mom make me Cinnamon Toast Crunch every day. And she was like, yeah, why are you only eating that? I'm like, trust me. So I bring Cinnamon Toast Crunch and a Sonic the Hedgehog drawing, and I would trade them for chicken nuggets. I'd trade them for the little pieces that they had. I'm like, man, let me get that macaroni, the one without the cheese, because today's marinara day. So that's when I knew I was both an artist and a business savvy artist, because I was, I was trading my art from a very early age.
And you wrote your first song at how old?
10 years old.
10.
I was a poet when I was like 9, but I ran into, I shared a poem with my homie Black Casper, Justin, and he was like, yo, this is cool and all, but you ain't gonna make no money from this. Ain't nobody, I don't know. He was like, name a poet that's making money. and I couldn't. He's like, you need to learn how to rap.
I still can't.
Yeah. You need to learn how to rap. So I started memorizing like DMX lyrics, Eminem lyrics, Mace lyrics. I still remember the verses. And sadly, I would go on radio, like New York radio shows, and I would study the verses that weren't on songs, and I would imitate them and be like, yeah, Black Casper, check out this verse I got right now. Are you afraid of a blade made of a razor with age, blood dripping from it, ripping your stomach up from the waist up? And that was an Eminem bar. Eventually he caught on. He's like, yo, that what you did is wrong. That is almost as bad as snitching. Like, you cannot jack somebody's whole lyrics. So I had to learn how to rap at 10.
Got it. And plant medicine came in at what age?
11. No, I'm joking.
For some people it did.
No, we should talk about that because, your brain has a certain level of neuroplasticity from age, basically when you're young to 25. So I wonder, I don't have kids yet, but I wonder what age am I going to be like, yo, you're ready for plant medicine? Because I kind of want your brain to evolve to a certain degree. The first time that I experienced, and it was a hero dose, I experienced plant medicine, I think I was 20.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a little late.
That's late?
Yeah.
Wow, she just called me vanilla. Wow, I am a square certified. That's late? Wow.
It's because I know so many people who were on drugs.
In high school and middle school.
13, 14, 15, and I'd already gone through a series of, having to get clean or like go through recovery, things like that, to later find plant medicine.
I'm Nigerian.
Different culture.
My dad he said, the one thing that you do in America, so you will not be thrown on a boat, you must not do drugs. This your dare program. I don't care about that one. You must listen to what your father says. I am there, and I dare you not to do drugs. So I didn't do drugs. I was terrified, man.
Me too.
When I started smoking cannabis, oh my God. We used to go to Bed Bath & Beyond, and we would take they had these like hand sanitizer things that smell good, and we would go like this, just pat up and down
Do the pat
before we went inside with our racing car jackets and our bomber jackets, because those would reek of cannabis, stanky. So I was just terrified to see him when I started that. So psilocybin at the time, and honestly the hoods that I was rolling around, that wasn't something that anybody I knew was messing with. It was blunts and Henny where I grew up. So psilocybin was like a white thing.
Yeah.
You do not touch that. But I went to private school, and so all my friends that were in school were starting to dibble and dabble in psilocybin specifically, and a little bit of LSD in high school.
Okay.
So that was where my interest was formed, but I knew it was going to take a few years so I could get out of my dad's like vicinity.
Yeah. And so you had heroic dose of cannabis or psilocybin?
Psilocybin.
Or both.
I did smoke during it.
Okay.
I usually smoke a little bit of cannabis too. Somebody said it was going to level me out. I find that it enhances the visual effects, definitely the sonic effects. Whoa. So I was 20, I believe I was 20 or 19. I want to say younger now because you kind of outed me for being a little
No,
bit.
it's actually common. I'm finding more and more people didn't start till later. It's okay.
All right. Nah, I got some other cool things I did younger, but nah, psilocybin was not one. So I went to school in the Bay. I went to school at Stanford. We had this cool house of artists. It was like 8 or 9 of us, and kind of bunking up in this house off campus. So we get a little bit of dried mushrooms. We have no idea what we're doing. They're like, yeah, just eat all of this, and I don't know how much it is. But they're like, yeah, the white boy at school said this is a hero dose. Hey, you not a hero, bro? You're not a hero? I'm like, all right, I'm gonna be a hero. So we took our doses, which we didn't know what we were doing. We ate it raw. I think somebody made pancakes, but I ate it raw.
Pancakes?
Yeah.
Never heard of that.
Yeah. But I like the taste of mushrooms. I like the umami kind of feel.
If you start that way too, it's helpful.
Yeah, I enjoy it, and I don't get a lot of the side effects in the gut. I mean, I do always got to take a shit. Let me be clear. I had microdosed this morning, and I immediately knew what I had to do
a good
before.
Moment.
Yeah. But we took it, and we also were in a community that used to paint our faces in the tradition of a lot of, honestly, indigenous societies around the world. So we masked, that's what we called it. We would mask, and when we masked, and the psilocybin started to take effect, I started seeing different colors in people's faces, and their face felt alive, and we felt like characters. I turned into this cheetah man guy. I felt like I was the incarnation of a leopard or a cheetah, and it was so beautiful. There were moments where I remember walking into the living room. You remember the moment in Michael Jackson's Smooth Criminal where he goes like this? I did that. I'm serious. The cool thing is that everybody else saw it. I'm used to dreams I have at night, when your DMT is super active in your brain. Nobody else sees your dreams. Right. You can tell it and be like, yo, I flew off of Mount Kilimanjaro. I really did it.
Cool.
When you experience like macro dosing, as some people call it, other people experience what your experience is, which is really wild. And I have a whole theory behind that we can get to. But I really think it's because we're ingesting essentially like the reproductive organ of mycelia, which are under the ground. So you're experiencing like this Wi-Fi network that trees and plants have all across planet Earth. You're now tapped in. So when multiple people do it in ceremony and going on a journey together, I feel like we become like mycelia. So that's why my little Smooth Criminal moment, everybody was like, yo, you are Mike Jack right now. In the form of Cheetah Man.
You felt really good about it.
I'm so proud, you see me? I'm proud like somebody never made the pros, but it's like, yeah, I was varsity captain of basketball in high school, which I was. Like, that's how ridiculous that moment was. But that was the dawn of the excursions and adventures that I would, and have since gone on. But I didn't know about microdosing then.
Okay, it wasn't that popular.
No, I didn't even know the phrase.
Yeah, nobody was really doing that.
It's got hip the last few years in at least the circles I roll in.
Absolutely. And a lot of circles I'm not in. I'm hearing about a lot of people who are struggling with their mental health, maybe pre-pandemic, post. And I'm seeing a lot of people microdosing that I would have never expected. And it makes me really happy. Like, how is that working for you?
Man, when I took my first dose in my first journey, I went back to Boston and Brooklyn and was telling people about it. Mm-hmm. And they was like, "Oh, you Cali boy now. You really Cali boy. You're California, man." And they're like, "Why are you doing that? Like, that's like cocaine." I'm like, "Nah, it's not. You know, cocaine's not, it's not something I enjoy. You know, I know some of my friends in New York, they love it. My banker friends, attorney friends.
Well, they got ketamine now, too.
Yeah, ketamine.
It's the new cocaine.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's cool. But I was like, but those are very different, those are different experiences, different medicines, if you will. Mm-hmm. They interact with the brain in different ways. So I tried to explain it to them. They weren't with it. Mm-hmm. Some of those same people in 2023, though, they was giving me a little chocolate the other day at a party. I'm like, you at two. At two.
It reaches everybody it needs to.
They're like, I got on it because my therapist was recommending it. I was on a lot of antidepressants, and they wondered if this was a healthy alternative. So
it's a direct solution. Actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I know, for the record, I don't think psychedelics is for every single person. Mm-hmm. Obviously, there's no food on planet Earth is for everybody. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's important for me to state, and obviously the setting, the dosage really matter. Mm-hmm. But I do think most people will see benefits immediately.
Well, there's different medicines in different cultures too. What do you know about iboga?
Oh yeah, I know that they call that the masculine form of ayahuasca. That's the nickname. Mm-hmm. And there's other psychedelics in West Africa and Central Africa too. I haven't experienced it. I want to. I'm a little afraid.
Of course.
As I am with everything, but I'm mostly afraid because Africa has not experienced a psychedelic revolution or renaissance yet. And I mean a real renaissance, because I do believe historically psychedelics have been rampant. Not the word rampant, that's the wrong word. Psychedelics have been pervasive throughout the continent. Mm-hmm. And we need that renaissance. Mm-hmm. We're in the early stages of it now. And I think if we just remember who we were and remember what we used in the way that a lot of like my brown friends from South America, Central America, Mexico are remembering and sharing this with the world right now, then we'll go through a renaissance that's much needed. Mm-hmm. When I first looked up African psychedelics, there was a lot of if you Google it, you're gonna find the clinical names for some of these medicines. Then you're gonna find the traditional names, and then you're gonna find a bunch of like religious dogma related or political dogma about how we should not be using drugs. Because again, Africa has gone through a rough 400 to 500 years, so we are figuring out how to be, what it means to be an African right now in 2023. That's not an easy question to unpack. And you know, people will say Africans used to be this way, a Ugandan person, this is what we believe. But the reality is a lot of these countries in Africa are younger than my mother. So the question of identity, who we were before colonialism, I think is paramount to our self-discovery. So that's why I can't recall all the names, but I do believe that, have you heard of the stoned ape theory?
Yes.
I believe in that. It's not just a theory for me. It's like what Adam and Eve is for diehard Christians. Like, I am a stoned ape theorist or a theologian. The theory is very simple. Essentially, when our ancestors, chimps and bonobos, left the jungles in the center of Africa and probably center to southern, they were leaving the jungle. Outside the jungle is a savanna. To be able to maneuver a savanna, you have to track animals, other animals that are used to a savanna. What do animals leave behind after they've eaten? They leave some feces. That dung, there was plenty of different strands of psychedelic mushrooms that were growing on these feces, still do to this day. The myth goes, our ancient ancestors, were tracking animals and started to eat some of these mushrooms. When they ate those mushrooms, I don't know what dosage, whether it was macro or micro, that created a lot of neural advances, the birth of language perhaps. All these new synapses are firing. So the next 2 million years, these apes are rapidly developing, and they develop into what we now know as Homo sapiens. But the access to those psychedelics is one of the key factors that created rapid growth and moved an ape to what we now know as human beings. So that's the stoned ape theory in a nutshell, and I believe in it.
Me too.
Yeah.
Makes sense. I think I saw a video too, one of those AI things.
Oh yeah?
Oh yeah, where it just go, where you see the chimp turn into human. You've seen this. Everybody's seen this.
Well, I want to see the AI thing. Which AI thing?
I don't know. There's so many.
Yeah, I know.
There's a lot, but it all makes sense because I just think when we resonate, when we're on that frequency, it makes it easy to find your tribe, to find your community, to find the people who
Yes.
just know this shit.
Yes.
Even intuitively without having to study any of it.
100%.
You have it in your blood. You have
100%.
it in your DNA. So I believe in it as well. And what other plant medicines have you had that have been either life-changing or that you've used for ceremony?
Some people do not consider LSD plant medicine because it's not directly, it's synthesized and it's not from a plant.
That's about psychedelics too.
But I have dibbled and dabbled in what people call acid. Actually, in the nearby neighborhood, like I was wandering around here looking at the moon when the last time I had a little toothpick with LSD on it. I have not done ayahuasca and mescaline, and that's my birthday gift to myself this year was a full-on ceremony. I wanted to go to Costa Rica or Peru to do it. I actually had the opportunity to do it here in Los Angeles, but I decided against it for my first time. I know how I am. Yeah. I'm a little particular with sounds. I'm particular with people speaking English to me with rituals that weren't from the UK. Like I can't even with yoga, like the hot yoga I did this morning, dude was great, amazing. I just don't want to hear it in English. I don't know why. I don't like the sound of soft English and talking about your toes. I don't want to hear that. It makes me angry. I'm serious. I'm definitely like a low-key anti-hero wellness guy. Like I'm an anti-hero in it. I care about it. I want to be well and healthy, but some of this shit is hokey.
Let's be honest. It's a little much.
Especially in California.
It is.
Golly. So I don't want to hear it. I want to hear the sounds. There's a reason why Om is a real thing. That doesn't even sound good the way I said it. Om. Yeah. It's supposed to do that dip in there. And it's not from English. So I really love starting at least with a new tradition with the people who ancestrally cared for the knowledge.
I got a shaman for you. I know somebody.
Please. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I've had a lot of recommendations of people and they're like, yeah, you got to go. I'm ready. So I haven't done too much. Psilocybin has been my go-to. LSD secondarily. I do, although not a classic psychedelic, I consider MDMA a psychedelic as well. It's a heart opener. But I have not gone into ayahuasca and mescaline.
DMT, no bufo,
nope.
combo.
Nope.
You've heard about all these stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, there's a lot of great articles in the magazine about all these. And that's why I'm just like, great, bring it on. Like, tell us about it. And then we decide, is that something I want to support? Is that something I want to try? Is that something that's going to actually heal me? Or is it something, you know, that's a part of my path where I'm going to be in a relationship with this plant in my life that's going to continue to feed me on my journey creatively, personally.
They call to you. Like, for me, it's ayahuasca, it's San Pedro right now. I can tell that that's my next forte.
Which is beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a little lighter.
Yeah.
Aya's like, you've heard, she's like the grandma.
Yeah, she's grandma.
With love.
The San Pedro
Harsh.
is like
with love.
The niece or like the daughter. I've heard. Yeah.
Either way, it's beautiful. That feminine energy, you end up feeling so much love, so much more connected to yourself. Yeah,
I need that because a lot of people with Aya, they say, you know, you go through a storm somewhat sometimes, but you'll be held.
Always.
You'll be held. And I haven't felt held in a long time. Like I don't, when I think of the word God, and I'm going to use it very loosely here, meaning all of existence, you know, the energy that runs through everything. I haven't felt held by God in a long time. I felt like I'm maneuvering through within God, but I haven't felt, you know, that like, in the moments I felt held, hero dose on magic mushrooms, also church, gospel music. You know, when the choir is really singing to you, you can feel that feeling of holding. And other times just being in nature, sober, you know, that's the closest I feel. But I would like to experience what like a grandmother holding you. My grandmother passed when I was, well, my dad's grandmother passed before I was born. And then my mom's mother is a great woman, but definitely not like the holding. You know, she's like a traditional like Anglo-Saxon, Wisconsin, modest, kind of nice but not affectionate.
Like nobody told you life was supposed to be fair, kind of, like where you complain and they go, nope.
She's not too hard. Like she's funny, but she's just not. She's not. I don't remember ever in my life her holding me, and that's no shade to her at all. I understand her upbringing and why. And in fact, it taught me a lot that I could hold my own. You know, I could fill my own cup, which I love. It created an independence. But I yearn for that holding. And so that's why I think Aya's calling me, because, you know, it's just been a while.
You'll get it. Yeah. You need a little spank first, and then...
yeah, right.
And then you get the hugs. Oh, my God. So you haven't had peyote?
No. You're going to keep listing all the things I have not done
because I love...
prove again that the boy is a little nerdy. Yes, I am.
It's great.
No, it's wild that I haven't. And it's not actually because I was like, no. It's just because, or like I didn't make an active choice to not do. It's just I go when I'm called.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I hadn't been called to everything.
Peyote is Native American church, you know. So unless you are interested in studying Native American traditions, you know, and those are very traditional, also very structured. It's not something you just go and you can have your experience anytime. That is a calling. Where you have to, you know, want to sit with the tribe and have the chief speak to you, and you know, and call upon you to sing and learn the instruments. What I love about any of these plants, the ceremonial plants like Wachuma, there are traditional songs and music that comes with all of them. So when I ask that, it's because you're a musician and you're on the frequency of music and sound all the time that, you know, when you're exposed to even some of it, like when I hear powwow music, when I hear Native American music, I'm like, I want to sit in the space where that happens. Take me to where that 100%. Is. You know, I follow the music and the sound. So I only recommend it to people for that reason, to get in touch with how this music has traveled through these indigenous people to us so that we can have our experience and know how important the music is for the journey. I
1000% agree. I was actually in a Lakota powwow group.
So you've had it.
Yeah, so I'm very much, I'm careful when it comes to that initial introduction. Even me joining a Lakota powwow group was, you know, I didn't want to be the foreigner coming in and being like, okay, I'm jumping into the powwow culture. I had to pay my respects. I had to learn not just bits of Lakota language, but like learn what proper traditions were. I think our greatest moment was singing at our friend who passed, our classmate who passed, memorial, and for the larger Native American community to accept us singing, and we were a mixed group. Some were Lakota, some were other ethnic groups, and then some were just not by direct descent of any indigenous Native population in the U.S. So it was wild to get that moment, but after that moment, I started to open myself to other cultures and be like, okay, I can maneuver this earth being interested in different people's traditions and not feel like I'm appropriating and not feel like I'm desecrating, which is the worst thing you can do. So I hear you, and I will, when I'm called, I will do it. And I'll do it
even with ayahuasca,
properly.
you'll see, we think it's about the plants. Sometimes we go in and we think it's about the trip and the journey and the challenge and all that, but that music heals and just gets way deep down in there, and you never forget that music.
Honestly, the kind of singing that I did in the powwow group was some of my favorite singing. Even the part of my voice that I have to use, it's totally different. And we sang northern powwow music, so it's higher. The southern powwow music is the lower tones, so we sang extremely high, and I thought that was just a beautiful thing that resonated with my soul. Sometimes more than my own music, you know. And I think partially going into the music industry is why I've been away from some of the more cultural traditions that I was so prone to loving. You know, now once you make it you make music for commercial success, it varies, or it can move you away from where you started. And I thought I would never be like that, but unfortunately, like just by nature of your schedule, you know, unless you're purposely carving out time to go study with this shaman from Turkey, you're not gonna tap into that music. You're gonna be focused on making your beat or whatever rap trend is on. You're gonna be studying all that more than some of the ancestral and older songs. So you just talking to you is reminding me how much I enjoy and need that.
Me too.
Yeah.
What's the name of your new album?
Me, You, and God.
What's that mean?
What's that mean?
Yeah.
It can mean anything to anybody. I talked to somebody, actually Jesse Boykins, the other day, and he was like, yo, when I heard the title, it felt like me, myself, and I. It felt like the ego, like the soul, the ego, and then God.
It's beautiful. It's
and I'm
really
like,
powerful.
Wow, that's really fire. And in my head, when I originally made it, I made it as an homage to the woman that became mi amor, but started out as like simply a lover in the middle of a pandemic. And because LA felt barren and there weren't as many cars on the road, it felt like it was just me, her, and God when we went outside. When we went to a beach, there was nobody there.
Right.
Just me and her and the landscape. So that's why I chose the title, Me, You, and God.
Did that come after all the songs? Like you had written all the songs and then
Yeah. The original title for the album was Swankifornia. It was like a swanky California album. We knew what it was gonna sound like. So that drove us the whole time. And then at the end, I was like, man, this is not that cool, man. I noticed it when I started sharing it with people.
Yeah, you weren't getting that response.
Yeah, they're like, and I already have a name that's not like typical. I don't want to have an album that's just, I can't pronounce it. You Jedediah, Swankahoo, Swankafinna. I don't want that, man. It's Me, You, and God is very clear. So we made all the records. Roman John Arthur was the lead producer. He was, man, extremely tapped in we worked on it for 2 years.
Wow.
And he just, man, he's such a maestro, man. I really admire that guy. So he knows how to capture love in a sonic capsule. And he knows how to push me to do things vocally that I wouldn't normally do.
Very important.
So I'm very grateful for Roman. I'm grateful for my partner in crime, Nana Kwabena, who I do all my music and co-executive produce this project alongside Roman. But yeah, it was a beautiful moment for me.
And are you touring?
We are.
Yeah.
We are touring this summer. We might. We have some cool magic plans, little special moves that we might pull off.
I've seen a couple events.
Yeah,
it's really exciting.
Yeah. I'm in the middle of just reformatting how I approach music. So even this conversation about ritual, it's hitting me hard because I studied ritual art in college. I left college halfway through, post my initial ceremony, and because I think the studies show that most psychedelics, especially psilocybin, the after effects continue to form new synapses, and your brain continues to evolve post whatever ceremony that you have. It doesn't need to be in your system the whole time.
Right.
And I think that moment affected me. I left school because I had a spiritual awakening when I was completely sober, but it was a huge moment for me where I could not go to class and function. I started going to religious studies professors and asking them everything they knew about God or non-God, and we got into really heady discussions. I didn't stay in school. I left for a year, went to Nigeria. That's what happens when you're like Nigerian. When you're acting up in school or you can't follow the rigid engineer, lawyer, doctor path, they send you back. They send you back to Nigeria. And it really did ground me.
I imagine.
It grounded me. And I came back and I knew what I wanted to do. And it wasn't engineering anymore because I was in school for engineering originally. I wanted to create a major called ritual art. And that was the study of the practice of rituals. It was the physiology, a little bit of neuroscience, music theory, drumming, of course, and some religious studies courses that were offered, as well as sociology, anthropology, all in one curriculum. So I created the course load, and I fed myself all that info for the remaining 2 years of college. So that part of me is something that's always in me, whether active or dormant. And I need to access that to feel full and whole. So thank you for this conversation, because it's a reminder that I'm currently in a pivot and it's the right place to be.
Yeah, it is. What's your favorite song on the album?
I don't have a favorite song on the album. I don't think see, that noise is beautiful. Like, I liked the reverb on that and the delay. That's really nice. That was a great drop. I don't have a favorite song on the album. I don't ever have a favorite song, usually. My favorite song becomes the one that people love.
Right.
Because the whole music is meant to be shared. It's not until recently that musicians are in a next to a computer by themselves, you know. You didn't used to be able to do that as much. So I love when people receive my art and they're like, I love this song. The streams show you, you know, and that makes you love the song even more because you're appreciated.
You just create it, send it out, and it finds its way to the people who need it, and then you get the feedback.
Yeah.
And then you love it.
Usually it's the song that your voice surprised you. The song where a lyric surprised you or a note that you hit surprised you as a vocalist. So it's like when I didn't know I could do that. You know, those are the songs that people love.
Yeah, it's true.
All my biggest songs were moments that I peaked. Like, wow, I didn't know I could rap like that, or I didn't know my voice could have that texture. So my guess is when it's all said and done, there's a song called Maybe Swangofornia on the album.
Okay.
I think that song will probably stream really high over time because there's some money notes that I hit there that I didn't know I could hit. I've always loved Marvin Gaye, and I didn't know I could channel my I guess rendition of the sensuality that he was able to communicate.
Like a little falsetto?
Yeah, it's falsetto, and there's a moment where I hit the word love, and I hit this note. It's an accidental note.
Those are the best.
Man, I'm saying baby,
really
and the way I sing it, it's not in the scale. Ooh, and that's exactly what he would have done. Me and Roman were going crazy in the studio when I hit it. So yeah, it'll probably be that one if I had to pick, but I'm trying not to.
What are you looking forward to most on tour or for the rest of the year?
I'm looking forward to scaling down my production, meaning like I tend to tour with musicians and have a set and there's lighting and whatnot. And I've been studying Ed Sheeran.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Ed Sheeran, and then certain DJs that I just have appreciated over time, and producers. And I'm looking at how I could combine all my favorite bits of these people. Dan Deacon, who not a lot of people know, at least not in the cultures I roll in. They don't know no Dan Deacon. But these guys, they do things with very little, and they're able to create an experience that is euphoric. So I want to create. I don't want my show to be about me. I want it to be about the transformation of the people. I want people to leave changed. They don't even know what happened.
Yes.
Wow. If you are not living life and feel like this is magical, I just want to remind people what we on. Where are you going this whole time? I don't know where people are working. What are you working for? Where are you going so fast? So that's what I want to remind people. Just the electricity is wild. Just the flicker of the light.
Yeah.
The sun didn't make an appearance this morning. It was cloudy. You over here complaining about a gray day. To me, it's wild that the sun is there and you can't see it. That shit crazy. I just want to remind people of that. And the way we get reminded is going through some sort of trance state. In ritual studies, it's called the liminal state, where you actually reach that sometimes on set. You can be in a conversation like this, and people are hitting a moment where you kind of forget time, and time is suspended. That's the liminal space. When a human is in that space, they are susceptible to a transformative experience where their consciousness actually shifts.
Yeah.
So that's my focus moving forward. I think up until now, I had my 85 to Africa phase where I'm like pointing towards Africa and saying this is what's most important for people of African descent to recognize that the center of our planet is Africa. And I'm proud of that moment. But it was very much a missionary, because it was like a African-centered missionary movement for me. My first couple of years was just like, I'm here. I'm a classic man. Long live the chief. I'm the chief. It was just all ego. Like, yeah, I'm here, bro. So I'm done with all those phases. They're all necessary in an artist. Yeah. It's necessary to say I'm here. It's necessary to say this is what I'm here for. Here's my mission. But I'm now on some like, I just want to give a trance-like and loving experience to people. That's what it was like to make Me, You, and God. I was on psilocybin the whole time.
I was going to ask if there was one song.
That's probably, no, the whole album. Thing. The whole album was made during Magic Hour. The whole album was made using the beautiful medicine that psilocybin is. You know, they say that psilocybin attaches itself to serotonin 2A receptors. It's really important because of where serotonin 2A is in your brain. For example, it's all over your brain, of course, but like some of those receptors are in the parts of your brain that control your visuals, which is why when you're taking psilocybin, you have so much visual advances, I say, or enhancements. The same thing when it comes to the sonics. When you listen to music, if you're in an anxious state or depressed, or you're just going through a dark night of the soul, when you listen to music on psilocybin, your love and passion, the feelings that you felt when you were a child, when music was so magical, they come back to you, and that lasts beyond your journey. I needed that because I was coming off of years being in the industry and not feeling the magic anymore. And then the world shut down, and then it was just me and you and God. I had to do that, but now it was me, Aloft, and I like to take my shrooms with lemon and lime juice. I do the lemon teching a lot.
That's right.
You know,
I heard about this.
It's yeah. So you
never
haven't tried it?
I haven't, and I've tried a lot of things.
Yeah,
I've never done that.
Yeah, I lemon tech. That's actually my preferred state now.
I've had mushrooms with so many different things, but never that.
Yeah, I don't even know who put me onto it, but once I started doing that, like I in my fridge, I have these immunity shot bottles, like when you get your lemon juice and ginger, and now I have psilocybin, lemon tech psilocybin in there. But you strain out the actual shrooms, and you're just left with lemon. I put maple syrup, mostly maple syrup with it, and it's just so nice.
Well, there's something in the citrus that activates.
Yeah, the psilocybin is 99% water soluble. So lemon and lime juice, it digests the psilocybin for you. So it helps people, especially who have trouble digesting psilocybin.
That's important.
Yeah,
That's
it cuts a lot of that process out for you.
Yeah.
And and it hits faster. It's more intense, but it's shorter.
I'm down.
So for me, I'm sure. Miss, you haven't done this, you haven't done that. Oh, I do it all, my friend. Okay, yeah, I'm sure.
That's why I'm the one asking the question.
Yeah, I know.
Because I can reflect. I got something to say about everything except some things.
Yeah. I'm just glad I brought the lemon tech in to you.
Bring it to me. I'm ready.
Yeah, but I will say I lemon tech throughout the entire process of making Me, You, and God. If you look at Me, You, and God and then my previous body of work, it's a huge difference. There's a huge difference between the albums I released before. I'm singing from a different part of my voice. I'm stretching my voice. Good. I'm singing a lot of falsetto, a lot of mixed voice. Before it was like all chest. Yeah. You know, I'm not really talking about like me. I'm just talking about love and loving on somebody. The album starts more like it tells a story of like the ego diminishing over time into just emerging with another soul, right? So the first couple songs is like more fuckboy energy because it's where I was when I started the project. I was trying to have a lot of sex. That was my goal. How can I have more sex, more pleasure, more? I had no goal of trying to like hunker down and settle down with somebody. That's wild crazy. When I was younger, I was afraid of drugs. I was afraid of sex. I grew up in a Nigerian household. My dad laid down the values. My dad was not always living with me, but when he did live with my mom and I, he made sure for me to know that we don't talk about sex and you don't do drugs. And I think my mom similarly, like even my more sexual visuals, she doesn't even talk about them. I released a song that has some sexual imagery. She's never talked to me about it. And so growing up in that household, I was afraid. And it took me years to be comfortable to talk about it. Even though, I'm on the basketball team, I'm a rapper, I'm doing everything right for more sex. Yep. My mom and dad gave me a decent pair of jeans. I have what it takes to have a lot of sex, and everybody was thinking I was doing that all the time. Man, he got all the ladies. And I wasn't. I was afraid. I had body image issues. I didn't love myself, didn't love my body. I was not doing it. So It took me years to get to a point where I was like, you know what? I want it. I want pleasure. Oh my God, I want to indulge in this. And it's not a sin. It's not haram.
No.
Like, wow, I can just do this. So yeah, I hit that corner in 2019 hard. It was amazing. Hit 2020, like, yeah, we're going to do this again. And yeah, we got to keep this going. This is new. I mean, like, nah, I'm in my 30s and I'm just discovering this. Come on. I had great sex before, but I'm talking about like just exploring more of your sexuality. Mm-hmm. So when I hit 2020, that was my goal. So the beginning of Me, You, and God, it focuses on sex for the first couple songs. That's really all it's about. But I was microdosing a lot. The pandemic had set in. Nobody's around. Right. And what started to happen to me, I think, was I didn't care about the industry. My ego was kind of diminishing, and what I wanted and what I was really looking for was just connection. I was looking for connection with nature. I was looking for connection with something larger than me, and a connection with another human being. Because it had been a while for me since my last relationship. So I stumbled on a beautiful woman who just pulled up with my homie, and I had that like, who's that energy to me, and I hunted him down for 4 weeks to try to see her again. And then I was able to see her on a beach at this party called Love Fest. It was really cool. A bunch of artists, community activists, a bunch of organizers that were involved post George Floyd and before George Floyd. So we met there on the beach, and we held hands the first day. And we talked about the psychedelics that we'd done and what we would do. And she's definitely gone further. That whole list that you laid out, she's done all that, man. She's the one telling me this is how San Pedro is. This is how ayahuasca is. This is what you need to keep in mind before you're doing it. And so she's on that whole wave. And we got together, and it was a really easy decision for me. I realized that she was what I was looking for the whole time.
That's beautiful. Well, one of the things I always like to ask is, because I'm all about supporting artists, what are the ways that people like your fans, can support you best?
I mean, the simplest answer is just stream the music, buy a ticket to a show. But what I care about most is open yourself to new experiences. Yeah. Don't sit here in the comments talking about what Jidenna doing. He over here talking about psilocybin, that's bad. Then get out of here. I don't want you. The way you can support me is a door works both ways. You can open and come into this beautiful community and beautiful tribe I'm part of, and you can also walk the fuck out. So I would love if this period of my career, a bunch of fans walked the fuck out. That's how you can support me best, because I ain't who you thought. I don't know what the hell you think I've been doing. I've been smoking cannabis since I was a little kid. I've been drinking alcohol since I was a little kid. I've been into some form of psychedelia since I was a little kid. And I've been on very different waves of musical genres since I was a child. That is who I am. If you didn't know that because I wore a suit, then damn, I Trojan horse your ass. But I want you to get out of my territory. And because you got to make way for new people to come in. There's a whole bunch of people I feel like I want to speak to. And those people are sitting in their chairs. Get out. So that's how I want people to support me. And then the new fans, I pray that I can reach them. You never know who's watching. You never know who's listening. So I just pray that I can reach a whole bunch of people that I've never touched.
You will.
Inshallah.
Amen.
I will say this. We are in a psychedelic renaissance age. I'm very pleased to be part of it. I'm very honored to be talking to you at this time. I'm happy to be part of the movement that DoubleBlind is so beautifully capturing. This time is obviously it's a new time, but what's new for me about this time is the interest of Black and brown people in plant medicine at large. That is not something that is lost on me. People in the hood are doing mushrooms now.
Yeah. Yes.
What are you talking about? That is wild. Like that is now, for better or worse, it's recreational, right? I don't think not everybody talking about ceremony and using these words that we use, but I'm just happy because they are changing. It's going to change music for the 2020s to the 2030s. Our music will no longer be the same because you don't want weird energy and weird frequencies in the music that, some of the music that we've been listening to the last 20 years, that energy ain't all the way right. And people have been using ego to dominate the music. You can't listen to the music the same way. And you're not going to want that when you're on mushrooms at a party anymore. So you're going to want to dance in different ways and not be confined. So I think that's why house music, what Coco and Breezy and Channel Trey are doing right now, they're opening the door, what Beyonce has done with the Renaissance. I do think that her Renaissance includes the psychedelic Renaissance, to be honest. So that's going to change our culture for the better. You can always mark a shift in music with an economic downturn and an introduction of a new drug. Always. 1960s was like one of our biggest moments in U.S. history. But if you look at the 70s, there were new drugs there. The jazz era in the 20s and 30s, that was heroin, that was coke, that was cannabis. So if you start marking all these moments, we're at a new moment now. We have new ways and easier ways to ingest any type of medicine, whether it's called a drug or medicine. The hood don't care, to be honest. They just taking it and realizing like, damn, this feels better than a lot of the other things that I had before. How do I do this in a safe way? So people are learning more. And that is new to the Black and brown community. Not really new historically, if we know our history for the last thousands of years, but it is new for our generation to tap into psychedelics and not be as afraid of them. And so I'm really happy about this. I think the pandemic did a lot to shift that as well. It created the room for us to explore. Pre-pandemic, people were not talking about shrooms as much. Post-pandemic, everybody.
Everybody's got a therapist now too.
Everybody is definitely.
The hood got a therapist.
The hood got a therapist. I mean, that was what it was for me. Sex, psychedelics, and therapy. I got a therapist in the pandemic too. So I just wanted to note that because it's a profound time, and it's scary time. So we are looking for different ways to hold on, People are super into astrology now because we're just trying to make sense of what we're doing on planet Earth. And I think all forms of plant medicine help a person understand what exactly it is we're doing. And to quote one of my best friends, Nate Wonder, I think the purpose of life, this is Nate Wonder, the purpose of life is simply to hang out. And I'll add, it is to hang out and share stories around a campfire. Ain't nothing else to it. So that's all I'm doing. And thank you for allowing me to be here to share my story around this campfire.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Medicine Music for DoubleBlind, Issue 9. Get it.